I cried in the movie. That's why.
I'm trying to get set up. Okay. Give people a few minutes to pop in. Um, Before that, I'll just go ahead and tell you my experience as a whole, just going to see the movie, and then some specifics about the movie that I found really interesting. So, full disclosure, I wasn't sure. Hello from Charleston, South Carolina. Hello, Ricky. Full disclosure, thank you for joining. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go see the film, and this is why. This is something that a topic that I know a thing or two about, not an expert. Oh, hi, Ricky. I'm so glad you're here. You follow me on TikTok. Yay. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, yes. My mind has been all over the place since I left the movie. I went to go see it today. It's Saturday at about 3:30 p.m., so it was a matinee. But I'll give you my experience just seeing it first and then go into the specifics. I know I just said that. Um, I wasn't sure if I was going to go see it. I talked about it a lot and I said I was going to go see it. But when push came to shove, I was like, I don't know if I can do this because I've been doing a little bit more research in this area, and one of the reasons is I talk about the border a lot, and those things are hello, hamburger and a shake. Hi, that sounds delicious right now. I watched a documentary on this same topic about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and it really messed me up. It was a good documentary. I'm glad that I saw it, but it was very specific, and I learned some things that I didn't know. And it messed me up for a few days. I couldn't sleep. It was really, really disturbing. And I just didn't know if I would be emotionally able to handle that content again. Hi, Boston. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to see it. That being said, I'm so glad that I did. It is a heavy movie. It's sombering. It will make you cry, but it's light at the same time. I don't know how to explain that, but it is. They do little inappropriate areas, little bits of comedic relief that makes sense, and it does lighten up the heaviness of the film. Okay, so here's my experience. You hear a lot of people talking about funny business happening in the theater, air conditioning not being on, alarms going off, all kinds of stuff. Or they get there and their ticket's not there, just all kinds of stuff. I didn't experience any of that. It was really nice. Again, Saturday, 3 p.m. The theater was about half full and it was filled with just normal people, no right wing extremists in sight. Or maybe they're undercover, but normal people. um, Everybody at the end of the film clapped, which I've seen that before, but typically you'll see that at like premieres, festivals, if it's the first night of a movie showing and people are waiting out line. You don't really see that on a Saturday afternoon when the movie has been out for over a week now. Everybody clapped. Everybody stayed till the very end. You watched it last weekend? Oh, that's awesome. It is. I'm so glad. If you're worried that it's going to be too heavy for you, it's not. I didn't think it was. And they didn't go into as much detail as they could have. They're really just telling the story of these kids. I'm glad they didn't, because this is a nice way for people that maybe are new to this. It's a good way for them to ease into the uncomfortable truths. Um, Everyone stayed and for the message afterward, and even when that was finished, a lot of people didn't get up. They just stayed there. It was a very interesting. I've never had an experience like that, and if seeing a movie before, it felt like you were in the right place. You were doing the right thing in the right place, and it was sombering, and there's a mix of emotions after. Now, the information that was in the film, which is probably new to some people, not all of it was new to me, just because this is something that I've been interested in wanting to learn about for a while, specifically because of what I talk about. So here's some of the specifics. This industry, and then I'm going to tell you some things that you might not know, some things that I just learned the past few days. This industry it's the largest, and it's $150 billion industry. The United States is the biggest consumer of this industry. Even people traveling out. You'll have people that travel out of the United States and go down and they're on vacation, and that's what they do. OUR is their YouTube channel. They give a great breakdown of the movie and who and what they do, and I've been following them. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so it's largest industry. We are the largest consumer, the United States. And there are more people enslaved today than any time in history, even when it was legal. And, you know, coming from working, or not, yeah, I do work, I make money. Coming from talking about these topics and talking about politics and being in the realm of politics, you see all the time we're talking about reparations. I mean, you can't go a day without seeing a story on some publication somewhere about reparations. You have the Reparations Committee in California. You have actually in Evanston, Illinois, they started out, I think, $25,000 payments as reparations. This is like a little pilot thing that they're doing, which is very interesting to me because isn't Evanston like a very upper middle? Anyway, so they're doing that there. And what's wild is we spend so much time talking about that slavery. And hey, as we should. It was a horrible atrocity that happened a while ago and should never be repeated. But what is so perplexing and almost angering and frustrating is we don't talk about the fact that there's more people now than ever enslaved. And a lot of these are kids and women and people that are vulnerable. And it's all kinds. Sex, labor, just all of it. All kinds of slavery that's happening. And with our border, that's one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to go see it, because the guys, Jim Caviezel, while they're out promoting the film, they talk about the border a lot. And they talk about the fact that we have 85,000 children that are missing within our country that just, we don't know where they are. They got lost. And I used to work for CPS. I used to work at a shelter for kids that were taken out of the homes for, you know, bad situations. And just the thought that our CPS did this, like just lost track of all these kids. And the reason for it is they're probably overwhelmed like crazy. It's probably impossible to keep track of all this. Here's a few other things that you might want to know. This is what I learned. Well, I knew this one. Another thing you might want to know is we ended the DNA testing at the border. So this is something that we've talked about a lot. The fact that a lot of times people will bring kids that are not theirs. And there's a few reasons for them. One of them is the trafficking. Another is they're using these kids to appear to be a family unit so they'll have a better shot at being brought in and getting services. That happens a lot. And what they were doing at the border is they were doing DNA testing to make sure that these kids are with their parents, that those are their actual biological parents. Well, the Biden administration stopped doing that. Are they going to bring it back? I don't know. There are people trying to bring it back, obviously Republicans, but they ended that. And this is after we had a whistleblower tell us that there are 85,000 missing children. So that's extremely concerning to me, obviously. Our open border is just exasperating that problem that's already huge. Another thing, and this is what I learned within the past few days, is that the Biden administration, now I don't know why they did this. I have no idea. I don't know what the intention is. There could be a reason behind it. We don't know. But day one, the Biden administration wiped. So if you go to the White House, they have a page about trafficking, information about it, like how to spot it, this, that, and the other. Well, they took down several categories. One of them was international trafficking. And our border's wide open. So there's that. And there were a few other things that they removed, but you would think the problem is so bad right now. It's so rampant. Why would you do that? And I don't know why they did it, but why would you do that? It doesn't feel good. Also, in California, I don't think I talked about it on this channel, but if you've been paying attention to California politics, something pretty crazy just happened, and it actually gave me hope. And I hope that it gives you all hope, too. It's called a gooberment for a reason. It really is a gooberment. It is. Goobers. Goobers are running running the White House. So this was shoot, sorry, that was my light. This is a big story, and it should be a story that gives people hope. So in California, you actually had this great moment a while back where Democrats and Republicans, they hugged. They were on the floor, they hugged, they were like, this is beautiful. We have this bipartisan bill that everyone supports, that they all co-authored. Well, the bill was to make punishment worse for someone that is involved in child trafficking. So they wanted to put it on the 3 strikes. So 3 strikes means that if you commit this crime several times, you go to prison for a very long time. You go away. And it was this beautiful moment. Everyone got together, were like, yes, we want to do this because trafficking is bad and they should be punished and put away, right? Well, the Democrats in the assembly didn't want to pass the bill. And it's just, it's like, why? What is a good reason? Well, their reasoning was that they already get enough punishment. That this disproportionately, it's the same reform argument that you've heard over and over and over again. But we are talking about kids. This is something all of us, if you view a kid as an object, you don't deserve to be in the population, is my opinion. And that's what, they don't see these kids as human, they see them as objects, and they do whatever they will. And within the movie doesn't go in detail, which I think is good because I don't think a lot of people can handle it. Like I said, I was messed up for like a few days after this documentary. There are evils being committed on these children that are far worse than anything that you have imagined. Like unconscionable evil. And a lot of people don't know a lot of the horrible details of the lengths that they go. You know, Walkie Talkie just said because the government supports the disgusting topic. I don't want to think that, but what else? How else can you make sense of that? Even the ACLU put out a video like arguing that it's SB, is it SB 14? I don't know. That's the bill they're trying to pass in California. I can't remember exactly. SB 195? I don't know. It's an SB something. The ACLU even put out a video saying that this shouldn't be passed. And here's my question in all of this. Who are always the ones that are left out of the conversation? It's the kids. Who are the ones that really do not have a voice? Who are the ones that are always silenced? They're always in HR 15. Thank you. I thought it was SB something. I was wrong. Hi Trump 2024. So they are always the ones that are left out of the conversation. It's the kids. And it really, look at all of our big cultural things right now. Kids in schools, the indoctrination of kids, the sexualizing of kids, like all of these things together, and knowing the truth about this issue really makes you see things in a different light. And I don't know if you remember, but they actually made that movie 5 years ago. I believe it was Fox that had them, maybe? I'm not sure. I think crimes against children should be punished by holding the convicted head. Whoa. Sorry, it was really hot today, and I went to that movie, and then I was crying, and there's a lot going on, so I apologize. Must see Sound of Freedom. Yes, go see it. Also, you guys, if you go on their website, angel.com, if maybe you're kind of tight for money, you can go, and there are free tickets available. And if you want to, you can pay it forward to buy a free ticket and have it available for someone else. So I think that's really cool that they're doing that. They just want to get the message out there. Sound of Freedom. But it was actually, so Fox, I believe it was Fox, they merged with Disney. When they merged with Disney, now Disney owned the film, and they essentially shelved the film. They weren't going to put it out. And Jim Caviezel at the end gives a really powerful message, and essentially says they had every kind of roadblock you could ever imagine trying to get this film out. And I do think it's ironic that it was Angel Studios that put the film out, but it's actually it's very well made. It's not like a Christian film, it's not a right-wing film or anything like that. It's actually a very, very well made, very good film, and they did a great job. All the rich are losing power daily. I think a lot more is probably going to come out. I left that movie. It was very sombering, understanding the reality, but it also gives you hope that things are going to change. And I do think that things are going to change. And it gave me hope seeing the audience and just seeing regular people and how it affected them. So there's that. I thought it was really, really good. It's not too heavy, so don't be afraid of that. But it will give you some feelings. Definitely give you some feelings. But I think it's awesome. All important figures. I was shocked. The Sound of Freedom. Thank you for liking the stream. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff is going to come out. Oh, and there was one thing in the film. Okay, we're going to go into conspiracy land a little bit, but is it a conspiracy? I don't know. People that do bad things have code words all the time. That's a thing that people do. When you're doing crimes, you have code words so people can't pick up on the crimes that you're doing. There was something in there that was very specific. Now, you would think, like, why wouldn't Hollywood just put that movie out? It's a general issue. Like, they're not implicating any individual people other than the people that have already been caught and are behind bars. So you have to think, like, why wouldn't they do this? If anything, it would probably make them look better. Like, look, we're releasing this film, especially Disney, because Disney was getting a lot of crap when that merger happened with their liberal fan base. So you would think putting this movie out would probably be a good thing for them. Chicken. No, it wasn't pizza. It was chicken. Just look it up. He used the word chicken to talk about children. And I've heard that word before. I've heard it before. That's what I think it was. Also, we know pizza is a thing too. But they specifically said chicken. And I've heard that word come out of Hollywood. Just saying. So that could be one reason why nobody wanted to make that film, because again, it's a general topic. It's not implicating a specific individual. So yeah, and you know, the adrenochrome thing, I think with this movie coming out, it's been a topic. It actually makes sense that they would use that word, because it's almost children. I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Glenn. How are you? Hello. But it was a good movie, and it was very well made. It's wild that they didn't want to put it out. Oh yeah, the adrenochrome thing. Well, people actually do that. There are rituals in other countries where they do that. No reason everyone should not be behind this movie. Yeah, you're right. And what just happened in California with that bill and people trying to block it, like that again, like this should be something that every single one of us are on the same page. So that's why it's perplexing that more people aren't talking about it, or they're not taking it seriously, and maybe because it is extremely icky. I was going to tell you something else and I just forgot. I was about to say it and then it didn't come out. Oh, California. Yeah, I wish that people could peacefully protest this. This should be a no-brainer. Well, hopefully yeah, I did have a brain fart. I have that, I'm still processing a little bit. Oh, the California bill. This is where I want to give you hope, because the general public found out that there were Democrats that were trying to block this bill, and they got called out by everyone. Every single person was furious about this. And one person that voted no actually publicly apologized and said she did the wrong thing and she's going to correct it. Now, there are some people that still want it blocked. ACLU and some other just radical, it's all the defund the police people. It's all them. They don't care. The criminal is their number one priority. We need to release the criminals to keep the prisons safe. We need to release the criminals to keep the prisons safe. Screw the victims. Screw the kids. Hopefully more movies of this type will come out since Sound of Freedom will make lots of money. Yeah. And what's crazy too is that Hollywood didn't want this movie and it was number one for a while. It beat out Indiana Jones, which was a Disney release. So the movie that they chose not to release. And I think it's good. I think people going and seeing it, the general public is telling them, we want to see this stuff. We care about this issue. And we're watching you. The truth is not always about flowers. It's not. And I think there's... Oh, but with California, what that did to it, it gave me hope because it shows that the public does have power. And I think what has happened with a lot of our government and why they have gone so cray-cray is because we stopped paying attention. I think that's what it is. We just don't pay attention because we're all decent people. So you think, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, you think that they're at least going to do the right thing. You elect them so that they go in office and they do the right thing. You don't think that they're going to defund your police. You don't think that they're going to be pro-criminal. That's never happened before. So the same with school. I think a lot of parents woke up during the pandemic when they were doing at-home learning. Because again, you send your kid to school and you think that these are good people that went into teaching for good reasons. These are good administrators, and you don't think twice about it. Yeah, these are people that work with kids. They're going to do the right thing. They're there to serve the kids, just like political figures are there to serve the public. Their basic job, if you're a politician, your basic job is safety. That's your basic job, is safety. So we're not paying attention because we're just, they're doing the right thing. And I think a lot of people woke up, and I think that those days are over. I think you're going to see a lot more people paying a lot more attention to what these politicians are doing. And I think their little heyday, their little drunk on ideology Kool-Aid is going to be over very soon, because I do think a lot of people are paying attention. And that thing in California really gave me hope. I mean, it was like that, where some of the people that voted no were like, I made a huge mistake. And even after that backlash, the ACLU put out a video defending it, or saying that this should be blocked because criminals already are punished enough. You know what I think is appropriate punishment for anyone that hurts a child? I think you should be housed with the scariest of scary gang members that do not like crimes against children, and everyone just turn the other way. That's what I think the appropriate punishment for someone that hurts children is. And what's really sad too is, I was talking to my mom about this. I won't go into too much detail, but some of these kids are sold by their own mothers, which is so sad. If you're a pregnant woman, maybe someone wants that baby. So some mothers sell their own children, and you have these houses. Again, I don't know if this happens in the US, but I know in other countries, you'll have these like houses where you almost have like a den mother, and she essentially raises these kids and grooms them to prepare them for a life of you know what. And in that documentary, I was watching a woman. I can't remember if he was undercover, but he was essentially saying this woman had been doing this for years. She has this, and she raises these kids and grooms them. He goes, do you feel bad about it? Like, do you feel like you're going to get caught? Do you feel guilty? And she was like, no. She doesn't feel guilty about it at all. Doesn't think she'll get caught. Just like, nah. And that right there just tells you almost everything. It tells you that these people are so depraved that they don't even look at these kids as kids. They look at them as objects. They're a product. They look at them as products, and that is it. And they have just closed that side of their brain off. To me, Somebody with that thinking does not deserve to be in society amongst innocents. You should be locked away. Bye-bye. You don't even see children as human beings. And that's also what scares me a little bit. So, another thing too is organ harvesting. That's a huge thing. Huge. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there was some undercover stuff. I can't remember if it was Lila Rose with, is it Live Action? I can't remember, but somebody went essentially undercover and was talking to an employee at Planned Parenthood, and they were bragging about the organs that they were able to sell after the kid was aborted. And that's what really scares me too about, it might be California again. It would make sense that it's California, but you have people trying to get stuff passed that says you can do away with your baby 28 days after it was born. What kind of sick person would be able to do that? And then it worries me too, because I'm like, why are people pushing for this? Is it because, what do they do with the child? So there's that too. It really, yeah, postnatal. It really, really makes you question things a little bit differently, knowing all of that. Hi from New Zealand. So, but anyway, good film all around. Great film. Jim Caviezel is very good looking. He is a very good looking man and a really good actor. I admit I never saw The Passion of the Christ, but he's a good actor. And the kid, everyone, it was a great movie. So I'm glad that people are watching it. I'm glad it's getting so much traction. And being in the movie theater, again, it was a really interesting experience. I'm sure those of you that saw it in the theater, I recommend seeing it in the theater too, if you can. If anyone else saw it in the theater, I'm sure you felt kind of the same way, but you definitely feel sitting. This sounds cheesy, but just listen. You honestly felt like, you're like, I'm exactly where I am, and God is happy that I'm here. Seeing that, I felt like that in a weird way. So you feel like you're doing a good thing. You spent your time, your afternoon, your evening, whatever, doing a really good thing. Yeah, I didn't see who just put that comment. Someone said The Passion of the Christ was a great film, and even non-Christians liked it. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard it's a really great film. It's just one of those ones I just never saw it. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Late movie. It's not weird. You supported a great movie. Thank you. I might get it. I think I might go get a ticket for someone else. I will say though, what's up with the 30 minutes of previews? Can we half that? And it's not just previews anymore. Now there's legit commercials. There were 30 minutes of 35 minutes of previews. I haven't been to the movie theater in a while, so I forgot. I was a little annoyed. But, whoa, I almost fell off the chair. We had no issues though. There were no fire alarms. There was air conditioning, which was nice. It is hot as crap out today. That's another reason why I look this way, because you're sitting in this freezing cold movie theater, and then you go out and you're smacked with the heat. So I get in my car, I turn on the air conditioning, and then it's too cold because I'm kind of sweaty, so now I'm even colder than I would have been. And then I turn it off and I'm sweaty again. So long story short, Mama needs a shower. All right, you guys, I think that's it. 104 here in Texas. Ew. Sarah, will you be less previews? Oh, I want to talk about, Sarah, will there be less previews because the writers and actors are on strike? Probably. Well, they cannot do, let's talk about this while we're here. The actors, they can't do anything. They can't talk about their films. They can't go on podcasts. They can't promote anything. They can't go to events. They can't do conferences. And I believe, did Comic-Con already happen? Because that's a big thing. They have a lot of panels for movies and animation, video games. I don't know how this affects the video game. Well, yeah, you're SAG and doing video games. And there are some really interesting things that I really do think all of us should kind of watch and pay attention to. I know that the majority of America, especially my audience, has zero sympathy for actors and writers, and a lot of that is their fault, in my opinion. There are some great people. I was in Los Angeles auditioning. I will be going back to Los Angeles. I will not be auditioning anymore. I am so happy. You cannot pay me to go back to that world. Ever. I will not be doing it. Not saying I would never act again or perform again, but I'm not doing the audition circuit where I'm auditioning for studios again. I'm not doing it. Refuse. Anyway, because it is an industry that it really does. I do feel for some of these actors, because not every actor is a millionaire and is in big movies. And the Screen Actors Guild, it actually is. It's one union that I support. The dues are pretty high when you first join, but it's a union that I support. They take care of their actors, and the reason it started in the first place is because, especially with people that are in any sort of creative field, people just don't want to pay you. They expect you to do everything for free. They don't want to pay you. So that's why SAG is in place, to protect the pay of the actors. Now, this is one thing that I think is really, really interesting about this strike. So one of the things that they're trying to do, this scares the crap out of me. One thing that they are trying to do is to use AI to use background actors' likeness. So if you're hired for one project or one day, they can use your likeness over and over and over again, and they don't have to pay you. BS. And you already don't make a lot of money doing background work. I don't know what the pay is now, but the base pay for background work back in the day was like $100 or $150 for an 8-hour day. That's not a whole lot. And it also hurts actors because, so to even be competitive in Los Angeles, you have to be either in SAG or SAG eligible, or like a baby. But and the reason for that is, and this again is SAG, is because you have to hire a SAG actor first. And if you're not hiring a SAG, and what you have to prove to hire a non-SAG worker is you have to prove that you went through all the SAG actors and you could not find, you needed a specific skill that this non-SAG actor has. And that way you get Taft-Hartley'd in to SAG, and you can become SAG eligible. Or you can get vouchers for being a background actor. So if you do 3 background jobs, you can get SAG vouchers. And once you accrue 3 of those, you are now eligible to join if you want to. So this background actor thing, this is a way that a lot of up-and-coming actors become competitive in that market and are able to join SAG. Some people, that's the only option they have. So not only are they wanting to use your likeness, they are taking away the ability for a lot of young actors to come up. They're taking away their ability to now join SAG or be eligible. And that's messed up. I could not even imagine. And it's already, again, it's an exploitative it's an exploitative industry already. And they know, the reason they do stuff like this is because they know that in Los Angeles specifically, so many people are so desperate to get any job and do anything. They know that there are about 5,000 people right behind you that are willing to do more than you for less. And that's just a sad fact of it. And it's the fault of the industry. It's also the fault of the actors for just being so desperate and willing to just not have dignity, in my opinion. To make poverty legalized. And just the fact of somebody using your image over and over and over again and you're not getting paid for that. Like, what? So that's actually one area. And I will say, Fran Drescher, she's the head of SAG right now. She's a good one. I kind of like her, and she did make good points. They were calling out Bob Iger from Disney, who makes $27 million a year, and saying that the actors are demanding too much, the writers are demanding too much, and maybe that is true. But how can you say that being at the top, making that much income? And I'm not one of those people that ever like faults someone for a high income or earning a crazy amount of money, but it's extremely distasteful, and that just shows you everything you need to know about how some of these higher ups in that industry think of actors and writers, and how just people in general think of actors and writers. And again, it's kind of a weird situation because I'm sympathetic to them, but I also get why people are not. And they kind of did it to themselves. So they're in kind of a tough place. Like when I first heard Bob Iger make that statement, I kind of agreed with him. I did. And then I thought about it a little bit more. I heard the argument by Fran Drescher, and I just like her. I don't know why. I just feel like she's good people. Don't ruin this for me. I want to think she's good people. We probably disagree with everything politically, but I like to think she's good people. What else? Yeah, so that AI part specifically was, and that's important for all of us to pay attention to, because AI is coming, it's going to be, it could be everywhere. It's not just going to affect that industry. But again, it kind of sucks because just the general, they just don't care about actors. And I understand why. They kind of did it to themselves. Like the industry, I think about stuff like this. This is what I think about. I think about the fact that you have a show like SNL. And I used to be a student at the Groundlings. The Groundlings is basically like the Groundlings, and then certain parts in Chicago. That's where all of your SNL peeps come from. They have scouts that go and sit in the Groundlings and watch. So the way that the training is at the Groundlings, they're basically training you to be an SNL cast member, even though most people will not. I never wanted to be an SNL cast member. I just wanted to get training at the Groundlings because I thought it was a cool school, and I failed. I failed twice. But I had a great time. I was there to learn. But anyway, what they will tell you at the Groundlings is that you actually, because a lot of people do, they go there and their goal is to get on SNL. There's also a lot of delusional actors in Hollywood. But they'll tell you that it's actually, you have a better shot of being an astronaut and going into outer space rather than getting cast on SNL. That is how competitive it is. So you think about stuff like that, how competitive it is, the training that goes behind this, and then in the fact that there's tons of writers, big writing rooms, big writing sessions, and it's not funny. Like that, to me, that is unacceptable. Like, it's not funny. Once in a blue moon, there will be a gem of a sketch that makes it out. That one rare gem, once in a blue moon, it kind of makes it out into the public and it's funny. Yeah, they have those once in a while, but we're seeing fewer and fewer of them, and that's not the norm. Mostly, it's not funny, and it's actually insulting to the general public because they insult people who don't agree with them politically. Okay? Same thing with Jimmy Kimmel. And Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel. He's got a whole team of writers. Why is it not funny? It's like it's not even funny, and you're insulting your audience. And Greg Gutfeld was killing it. He's not a comedian. Jimmy Kimmel's whole job is to be funny, and it's not funny. To me, that's unacceptable. And that's one of the reasons why people just have no sympathy for actors and writers. That's why I'm so like, I'm a little bit conflicted. And there are a lot of really great people in Hollywood, a lot of really hardworking people. I still have friends there. I actually know people that are really high up in SAG. Great guy. His name is Bob. Not Bob Iger. This guy, you would recognize him if you know him. He's in like everything, but he's always got like bit parts, but he's literally in everything. And it's fun to watch things and randomly see him pop up. But he's really big in SAG. Great guy. The rich made a huge mistake of watching. Exactly. And the majority of actors, and they're not even rich. And that's what makes me mad. You have these pompous people at the very top that kind of just ruin it for everyone. And that's, again, like, it's kind of a conflicted place because really some of their arguments will affect all of us, but they're doing it at a time when the disdain for Hollywood is probably at an all-time high. So, and there's so much social media, there's so many content creators, and that's honestly one of the reasons why I will never go back to auditioning. So I don't know if I ever told you guys, I never fully joined SAG. I think I'm still SAG eligible. That means that you can join if you want, and you can be hired for non-SAG project. You can do non-SAG projects, and you can do SAG projects. So it's kind of a perfect place to be. And I purposely kept myself SAG eligible rather than joining because you pay a big price. I think it's like a few $1,000s to join the union. And I'm like, I can't, if I'm being paid a few $100, I'm not paying a few thousand to be in the union. We need to create our own entertainment world. Exactly. And that's one of the things that I realized when I started making content. Like, you guys see me on YouTube. I'm on a lot of other places too. Some people are here for my TikTok. I can make content in my bedroom and reach a wider audience than shows that I was on. I was on a show. I was a regular on a show for a while. We were a smaller show. We were actually on Glenn Beck's Blaze TV. We had a whole production team, makeup artists, crew, actors, scripts, meetings, like all these people were involved, and I get more engagement and more reach just putting my camera on and talking to people. And I'm in control of my own image. I'm in control of what I say. If anyone's gonna make an ass out of me, it's gonna be me, and no one's better at it than me. I'll take the blame. That's okay, but at least it was me. At least these are my ideas. This is what I believe in, and I am the CEO of Sarah Sansoni Enterprises. And that is very empowering. And once you do that, it's hard to like want to put yourself in an industry like that doesn't care about you. They don't care about actors. They know all of them are replaceable. How many people have you seen that you used to see everywhere and then all of a sudden nowhere? That's not always because they retired. Some of them just can't get hired. They're not hireable anymore. No one wants to hire them. So yeah, it's just an industry that there's no guarantee. It's a stressful industry to be in. And I became SAG eligible because I knew I was moving to Los Angeles. I started acting in Denver, which is an extremely small market, and they don't have a lot of big films that come there, so most of the film production is indie. So the only way really to get to be able to join SAG, I knew I needed to join because I was not going to be compatible. None of the words are wording today. I was not going to be a competitive person if I was not already eligible. So I needed to join. The only way to join is if you get hired on a commercial. I never did well on commercials. Everyone always told me that they thought that I did really. No, I never booked commercials. And they're the worst auditions too. It's just embarrassing. They're like, pretend like you're in a snowball fight. Pretend like you're at a cookout grilling burgers and you have to pretend. And then they're like, can you do that again? Do you really need me to do that again? I'm not even talking. I had one audition. I didn't even have to say words. They just wanted me to jump up and down and scream because I was a beauty pageant contestant that was winning. She had me do it 3 times. And I get it, but come on. Oh, the first time she said it was too much. It was too much the first time. And that's how it is. They know that they have what you need. It's also filled with a lot of like your teachers and even some casting directors are actors that never made it, and they have kind of a bitter air to them, and they take that out on you. So there's that. It's just a horrible, it's no good. And now that there's social media, you can be in charge of things. But anyway, I knew I needed to be in SAG. So what did I do? I wrote a script. I submitted it to SAG. They approved it. So I made a short film, and it was a SAG production. I wrote, directed, produced it, and I hired myself. Empowering. So when you start out being that empowered, knowing that you can do things yourself, it's really, really hard to go back in that world and be treated that way. And I used to audition a lot, like a lot, mostly for animation. Every single animated thing you probably see, I probably read for. Like, I did it a lot, and it killed me because I couldn't have a regular job. I would get notified that I had an audition. I would get notified every day at like 5:30 or 6 p.m. Sometimes I would get lucky and it would be before 5. That I had to be in the office the next day at like noon, and that was my whole life. So I couldn't have a regular job. I wasn't able to even enjoy California until the pandemic happened because I was just stuck. I just felt stuck and I hated it. I'm so glad I'm not in that world anymore. What else was I going to say? Yeah. One of my favorite stories is Reese Witherspoon, actually. She started her own production company because she was like, there's no good films for women. Like, I just don't feel like I'm getting good roles, or it's all the same kind of role. And her husband looked at her one day and he was like, start your own production company. Like, produce your own stuff. And that's what she did. She started her production company, and she made that movie Wild about the lady who went hiking or something. I don't know. But she made the film that she wanted to make. They want women erased. Anywho, interesting times. And it's crazy too. I don't know if you remember the writer's strike, but I feel like that was all over the place. Everyone was talking about it. All the shows stopped. But this time it seems like the only people that are really talking about it are people that are like in the industry or know people in there, or LA people. Crazy times. Anyway, thank you for watching. It was nice seeing all of you. I'll be live sometime again soon, so I'll announce it. And there's that. So have a really good night. Go see the movie if you want to see it. It's not too heavy. You'll do a good thing. And there's that. All right, bye guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. They want one generator. All right. Okay, bye guys. Oh, thank you so much. Let me read that. Try not to get sunstroke, miss. I kind of look like that's why I'm very shiny right now. Thank you very much for the super chat. I will try not to get sunstroke. Bye. Thank you very much, you guys. Have a good day.